Alright, this is a quick video I want to do on, basically, we're going to talk about how conspiracy theories are the new religion. A lot of us were saying we're leaving the church, or a lot of people in the church are finding, I guess, more esoteric, metaphysical meaning behind the Bible. They're not taking it quite as literal, different things like that. But there seems to be a shift in religious, spiritual conspiracy towards, I guess, activism, prepping, conspiracy. Now, prepping is nothing new, but the black community in particular seems to have grasped, this whole EMP, electric magnetic pulse, and, this stuff is just spreads like wildfire. And people there's a lot of reasons if you diagnose a situation, you say, okay, let's look at it objectively. Black people are not prepared. I did a video a few months ago on basically if an event or if an outage was to happen, black people, they would be done because we don't have any real grocery stores. We have food deserts and we have corner stores. So let's say this outbreak lasted a few days. After 24 hours, the food in the fridge would be gone. And there's no produce or fresh fruits and vegetables in these corner stores. So, again, this channel is not, like, we're already past that. We're looking at things objectively. So, if this were to happen, we're not prepared, number one. Number two, I mean, yes, you can say we're getting more united and different things like that, but what are we really producing? Are our neighborhoods changing? What about the people that are not woke? Are they excluded? It's like, do you have to read all these books or watch all these videos on YouTube and implement it, and then it changes your life? But what about the everyday person who doesn't have time to do this, or has different obligations, or that might not be aware? It seems like the only people that are really affected by this are, when I say by this, of course I'm saying like getting knowledge itself, are people who already have done it themselves. And that's what part of this channel is. We want to show real action, or show real solutions, or at least something. Not just, we can sit around and talk and debate, that's great. We can discuss religions, sit outside, discuss religions, different things like that, all over the country. There's nothing wrong with that. But at what point are we going to say, okay, to me, in my opinion, our power is already out. We can scream black power, but do we really have black power besides as an individual woke person, quote unquote? Is there a collective black power? So there's no need for an EMP because the power is already out. We don't have any power, and one of the reasons I know it's already out is because people are using this thing as a form of escapism. There's an election is, Tuesday is Saturday, 2 days away. And nobody, we try to do coverage here of different elections here, the mayor of Cleveland, people running for mayor in East Cleveland, like, it's not popular, it's not gonna get you hundreds or thousands of views, but you can't tell me it's not more relevant and necessary than talking about an EMP or Tyrese crying. We got to get out of the social media, the idealism, the worship, the celebrity gossip stuff. most stuff is like people want to see stuff it's called confirmation bias. We want to read and see stuff that we already know and agree on. That's not really news. If you know about Tyrese and his situation, why do you need to watch somebody else talk about it? I think subconsciously people don't even realize that. Like you already know this stuff. You read it somewhere else or you heard about it somewhere else. It's not really news. It's not really showing you an example of how to better your community. So, and I want to do another video on that. We're distracted. Distraction is really more of an enemy than white supremacy. Because, but I'm not even gonna get into that. Anyways, that's for another video. Anyways, no one's talking about their local elections. Even if you don't believe that your vote counts, I mean, we all know local elections matter. You should know that the mayor controls the police. So if police brutality is an issue, you may want to elect a mayor who at the very least publicly states that he's on your side. I mean, you won't know until there's a shooting or something, unfortunately, what kind of stance they'll really take. But you want people to have your best interest that you elect. You know what I mean? You don't. So all of this stuff is just a distraction. Because I'm going to upload this video in about an hour or so, because I'm going to have power. Because the power didn't go out. And we knew it wasn't going to go out. And black people weren't prepared, even if it did. So it's like you got the conscious, quote unquote, woke people laughing at the church people and saying they're stealing all this money and they're wasting time believing in the false God and the false ideology. And history is inaccurate. And there's, historically Jesus was, the virgin birth and different things like that, the flood story. Yes, it's in other cultures, but I guarantee you they're gonna vote. A lot of those church people are gonna vote. You know what I mean? They're gonna be active in the community. They're gonna have food banks. Yes, it's a 501c, but the point I'm trying to make is they're working together collectively. I guarantee you they're not focused on the EMP. They may be focusing on trying to gain the favor of a politician for an election or something, something like that. But they're not focused on things that don't matter, at least in the real world. So as much as we want to say, well, their heads is in the pie in the sky, as soon as a conspiracy comes around, it's like we forget our real issues and obligations. And this is this subject, it just really bothers me because, the Facebook killer was here in Cleveland. We covered the Facebook killer. We spoke to the people that knew the victim, different victims, different things like that. The victim, I'm sorry. And I was there. I went to the scene, different things, and people are telling me it's a conspiracy and it didn't happen and he was never shot. And I'm like, well, I spoke to his sons, different ages, young, and they were sad. People that loved him, people that heard the shooting, that seen the car go away. Like we were there at the scene of the crime and different things. And it's like, but people are saying that never even stepped foot in Cleveland. People are telling me that it's a conspiracy and I'm wrong and the blood and stuff spills this way and different things like that. So, that's ridiculous. To me, that was a sign, that was a red flag. That was like, okay, no matter what, we want to believe this because it's a conspiracy on black people. It's a conspiracy to effeminize the black man. It's a conspiracy to promote gay agendas over, a black family agenda. We know there's conspiracies, but every conspiracy is not real. I'm not saying certain things don't warrant further investigation, but at the same time, unless you were there, unless you know someone that was there, you don't really have a credible source. And that's the thing with social media and different things like that. Me as a journalist, whatever you want to call it, and me going to that scene where, the person was murdered, the Facebook killer and different things like that, that makes me a credible source because I was there. I'm a credible source. So if you're all the way in thousands of miles away and you're just looking at a picture of people comparing blood splatter and saying, well, if he got shot, the blood should be over here and it should be like this because they watch a couple, seasons of CSI and Dexter or something. That's ridiculous. How does that make you more credible than me? If you're not a forensic specialist or something, like everybody, that's the double-edged sword of social media. We have people like me and other people that want to create a meaningful platform, but everybody has an opinion. And everybody that has an opinion, ironically, seems to think that their opinion matters or is more credible than, a person who was there. Like, when people aren't really self-checking their opinions. It's just they're happy to have an opinion, and it's the same thing. It's like talking to a Christian. Like, you're telling them the evidence. You're like, okay, the Bible was written 30, 40 years after Jesus died. So if you're not even 30 or 40 yet, do you even remember when you were like 10 or 11? Like, there might be some inaccuracies logically because it was written, the gap is so long. It's just when you say things like this, it's like you arguing logic with a Christian or like a devout religious person who takes everything in the Bible literally. That's not to say Proverbs and Numbers, and there's definitely wisdom and knowledge in the Bible. But people believe in, like, okay, a snake talk. Like, snakes don't talk. Or people believe in that Noah put all the animals on the boat. Well, the kangaroo is indigenous to Australia, but the Bible is in the Middle East. So how did the kangaroo get on Noah's Ark? You know what I mean? Like, stuff like that, that's really kind of common sense. But that's how the conspiracy people look. It's like you don't really have any evidence. You don't have any real evidence. You're not there. You don't have like an inside source at these situations. So how are you saying that, this is gonna come, this is gonna happen? Yes, we need to know what, different tests and different things like that. But if we could get this much attention on our local elections, like, oh, we're trying to do this in Baltimore, and we're trying to do this in Chicago, and if we could create a collective discussion that way, that would be great, instead of this distraction, But again, I feel like it's like trying to convince a devout religious person who takes things in the Bible literally and trying to explain to them, hey, this is maybe not so literal. You might want to look into the evidence. You might want to look into a third-party source. You know what I mean? Different things like that. Like, anything that you would do to try to confirm or build a case against anything, it works the same way, whether it's religion, science, politics, urban studies, like, it's all the same. So if there's a conspiracy, and people, even if it's true, people wouldn't even be ready for it. It's like, okay, we don't want to even think about the local election, so let's just make something up. Now, people aren't consciously aware of this, they're doing this subconsciously. So I'm not gonna take up too much time. Let me know what y'all think. Am I tripping? Am I crazy? I mean, I know it makes sense, but let me know if you agree or disagree, or were you already prepared for the electromagnetic pulse? Different thing, you know, whatever. Let me know in the description. Click the description, notification bell, subscribe, all that good stuff.